Hey there, and welcome to the ADK channel. I'm Dave, and with me today is, of course, Kirk. Unfortunately, there is no Andy. He's unfortunately unavailable today. But we have three of the guys from Decline the Fall. We have John, Aaron, and Chris. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Are you all in Slovenia at the moment, or?
Yes, actually.
You're all
so
in,
John and Aaron are upstairs and I'm downstairs.
I was going to say, I noticed the red doors in the background. I was wondering if...
No, actually, it's the chair. We've got the same
chair.
Same chairs.
I thought it was some weird door in the background. It was like, okay. We've got some questions for you guys that we wanted to talk to you about. We recently did a reaction video to your song Sinister on the channel. I don't know if you had a chance to look about it, but we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yep.
Obviously on the Dave Does channel, I've covered off, I know I've done Nemesis, I've pretty much done that one. And I think I did Last Tree on Earth at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm fairly certain I did that one as well. And I think I did Sinister as well. I think I may have done most of
Yes, I think you had done Sinister also, I believe.
I've pretty much covered your entire catalogue at the moment. So we've got a few questions. I'm going to fly her in there. Kirk's going to join in with some questions as well. I know he's got some stuff to ask you about. But Andy raised a very good question in the reaction video, which is the band name, Decline the Fall. Because he was like, I don't get it, was Andy's kind of response to it. So he didn't quite understand what the band name means. Do you want to give us a bit of a background behind that?
Yes, of course. Shall I go ahead, John, or shall you?
Go ahead.
Okay. No, basically, so to cut it short, as an explanation, Decline the Fall would mean that the band has gone through so many issues when we had started that maybe any other band could have decided to say, you know what, let's just call it, and let's just draw the line and just, call it a day. But the fact that we kept pushing through, that's where the idea of Decline the Fall, so the fall, would represent the end of what the band is trying to build up.
Yeah,
that's
also the way of saying like never give up.
Don't give up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I like the fact you've pulled your band name out of something that's actually very personal to the band, rather than just pull a name out and gone, oh, that'll do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to come up with a cool name that people do. So when you were going through this decline and challenge that the band were having, what was the band called before that then? You must have had a band.
Have a name.
No? Okay.
No, there was no name before.
It was just the band.
Yeah, it's always just an experiment.
And the best part of it is that now we have like this name, we kind of feel we have to live up. So whenever it's always hard, the problems never stop coming up. So we'll always come over, decline the fall, we have to decline it, or else we're like keeping going.
That's it. You can't go backwards anymore. You've got to stop it. No more going back. Always got to go forwards.
In a way, the name helps us to kind of jump over any obstacle. Which is
like positive reinforcement.
Raises your ego.
So I put it down that the band was formed in 2015 and was originally based in Malta. So do you want to give us a little bit of an understanding? Because I guess some of this is where some of the turmoil that came around with the change in the band. You had some lineup changes. And...
Started before. Started around 2010.
I think it was 15. I think 14 or 15.
15 is when we met, right? Together.
Yeah,
I'm bad with dates. I'm sorry.
Let's say 2015 for the sake of this.
Okay.
Yeah. But before, basically, I spent a bit more than a year changing members and trying to find this band that I can go forward with. Up until I met these guys properly, and we started Decline the Fall as it should be.
Okay. And was it so was this something that you put together, John, or was this a case that other guys that were in a band that you joined an existing group of guys that were already playing?
I started a band with totally different members before, and we kept changing members until we performed.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
So basically, then I came in. I mean, from the bandmates that we are now, I'm the second one after John. So after me, then there was Aaron. So we remained the nucleus, kind of. We remained the heart of the band. Then, of course, there were other band members. Then we moved to Slovenia because we moved to Slovenia. during COVID, funnily enough. But the kind of state of mind was, if we're going to start off from scratch, might as well start off in a different country, because at least we're still a step forward.
Right.
That was the mentality.
Yes, because that
so
was
we
that.
moved.
Yeah, because that was one of the questions. I was like, well, so you were based in Malta, you've moved to Slovenia. I was trying to understand that point of what was the reason behind making a move to specifically Slovenia or any other country. What was the thought process then?
Basically, Malta is like a really small island, and for us, like, there was no opportunity there to do anything with music, because there's only like one place you can play. We've played there like a million times. Like, anyone that had to know about us, see us, already has. So we felt like there is nowhere else to go. And if we're gonna do something internationally, it meant us, like, even just for one show, we have to like catch a plane and spend a bunch of money on traveling. So we decided to move to Slovenia to be like more accessible to like European world. Yeah.
You can explain this, please.
Then we basically moved to Slovenia because cost of living wise and even rent wise, it carried some advantages considering the time when we moved. Keeping in mind that COVID meant that we would have found a hard time to find any other jobs in the meantime. So we wanted to come to an area where the cost of living is better for what we had saved. And by living in a place where we basically have a house which is split up into 2 apartments, and also have a basement which we converted into a studio. So that way we're all living together, but everybody has their space. And we also have a location where we can play and record without an expense for a garage or for an area where we have to practice. So we kind of got everything all together in that way. Plus also, being in Slovenia gives us very good connections, even just jumping in the car, to some major countries where there are lots of locations where you can play and where they follow our style of music. So it gave us an advantage even from a location perspective.
I think you're living the dream of a lot of bands about having the studio on site and being able to go into the rehearsals. As long as you still get on with each other, that's the key part. Is because I can imagine it might be a bit more
moments.
Yes. That is where we started off with 5 and ended up being 3 Maltese. So
I imagine that's the bass player that you're talking about. Who
one of them.
We're struggling with this, guys.
Looks like he would bass.
bass players are always a difficult one. So we've got, before I get on to talk about your debut album, which was Our Own Demise, we'd be interested to understand a little bit more about your influences as far as where you're bringing your different musical influences in, because we talked a little bit about it when we were doing our reactions to Sinister, about there was some new metal influences that we could hear in there. Which I know Andy was not a big fan of the new metal. I know, Kirk, you're not. I'm a new metal guy. I grew up with new metal, kind of as part of my scene. But we heard a lot of, we still saw. What were some of the other influences, Kirk, that you picked up?
Meshuggah, I think, in the rhythms. I was really impressed by how technical Sinister is. And to me, that seems to be a bit of a departure from Our Own Demise. As a standalone single, I'm really excited about the next album, if that's where it's going. So I had Korn, Sick, the English band Sick, Meshuggah, even a bit of Primus. It was really, really complex. I was really impressed by the technical abilities of all the musicians in that song. Can we expect more of that on the next record?
Yes, in different ways, as in there's always going to be a lot of technical stuff from that perspective, definitely. The ride through the second album is going to be varied once again. I mean, every song, we interpret every song very differently. In my case, for example, from an influence perspective, when I was younger, I was into melodic death, so I was into Children of Bodom and Flames, and those kind of styles, but I learned the guitar playing to Ice Dirt. So I'm a person who learned the guitar listening and copying, so I never learned theory and whatnot. And so my picking technique is very similar to the Ice Dirt technique, so to say. But through the years, I love Meshuggah. I do love Periphery. I do love Era. Nowadays, they are my major influences, and I did go through Bullet for My Valentine and Trivium phase as well. So that's what I bring into the picture. But I think from the new metal side, then John and Erin are more into that era, which is where we have to find the compromise, so to say.
Yeah, I think that's exactly you guys were on point when you were talking about influences, because that's where we come in when it comes to the kind of Korn. I love Korn, even Aaron, and you can hear Korn in my voice because I love singing with Jonathan Davis, and he's like my main influence as a vocalist. But then again, we cannot go towards just new metal, so we were trying to find a way to mix them both. That's where us two and Chris, we're trying to find this way, like new way of doing music that it makes sense.
And we kind of struggle with like having an identity, kind of, because we don't know like what genre we are, and we don't like specifically stick to anything. It's like I feel we don't have rules, although we kind of do, but it's like we're open to anything. Like we feel we can make anything work with our music. We're not like strict to, okay, that's not us, so let's not do it. But that leaves us with like not knowing what our genre is at the end of the day, because we say like
still trying to figure it out.
before we say we're metalcore, now we just say we're metal because it got complicated, and everyone who listens to us says like, I can hear that band.
And some of the bands I wouldn't even have listened to them myself.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those ones that we hate having to do it by going, well, who are the influences or who do you sound like? But then when you're trying to refer it and say you would like this band because you're into this sort of music, that's one of the reasons we ask it. But we'd love to just be able to say to everyone, oh, they're just metal. But you kind of have to kind of go, yeah, there's a bit of new metal in there, and yes, the Korn pick up as well. And I mean, I really loved the acoustic version you did of Nemesis. I loved it. I loved the video. I thought it was a great video. I want to talk a little bit about the videos as well, because without getting into a huge amount of detail about each individual one, I've been impressed with the variety in your videos and also about your storytelling. So could you tell me about how you come up with the thought process behind each of the videos? Not in massive details on each one, but the concepts, I guess, or how you approach them.
Mostly it's just me and Aaron spending like till 2 a.m. talking about it and smoking. Totally honest. But I think it depends on the song, because when I'm writing lyrics, for example, for Nemesis, I always had this kind of different visions when I'm writing lyrics, so it's kind of easier. But first we come up with the idea, but when it comes to direction and production and everything, we took care of mostly everything. So even, for example, Nemesis was our biggest production. Me and Aaron had, long story short, we could go to a school that helped us in finding the kids. It's not easy to get, kids, especially on a metal video.
Yeah.
And we needed them to sing on the song also. So we had to go there, and the headmaster was amazing, and he helped us.
Like a theatrical school that teaches kids like dancing and singing, like a drama school. So it was perfect, because that's what we needed, like kids to act and kids to sing, and like these kids could do anything, so it was perfect.
It's them to sing We Are the Sickness.
That's very cool. We don't get much of that around here, do we, Kirk? We don't really get many of the schools being that willing to help metal bands out.
No, it wasn't easy for us either, but at least we found these that they were very helpful.
Yeah.
And I really liked the video for Last Tree on Earth. I thought that was a really powerful video. I love the graphic work that was done on it. And I had a question. It was like, are you like specifically trying to get environmental messages out in your videos? Are you trying to be political, or what's the sort of aim with the songs, the lyrics that you're trying to get out there?
I think Around the Mice is a bit political in a way, because the idea of the album was talking about how we as humans are destroying the world, right? And we're trying to find different subjects within that. So The Last Tree on Earth was an idea of a theory of what might happen if there's no more trees in the world. Like a simple message, but we wanted to create this whole story. And the more we were talking about the music video, the more we noticed that unfortunately we can't afford having that much CGI and that much actors and stuff. So we decided to go with an artist.
Which I feel we were like super lucky with that as well, because we came up with the whole idea and concept and like the scenes, but we managed to find this guy who made it. He calls himself Creeptoons, and he like the price he gave us for that video was like crazy. We would never have believed we could get something like that for such a good price. So I feel we were kind of lucky with that as well. He was really like amazing, perfect.
Well, we might have to get him on a video interview to talk about the process, because I was so impressed with it. I love the videos. I love the videos where people put the effort into. We've talked a lot about it on the ADK channel about people that waste time and do bad videos of like just a black room where they're just playing their guitars and it's just a black warehouse. It doesn't tell a story, and yet with all your videos, there's some sort of element of storytelling going on. So I thought that was brilliant. Now.
We kind of feel that we were expecting better, because even I forgot the other guy's name, but he mentioned that Sinister looks like really dark and everything. So we are not exactly satisfied, to be honest, with the outcome of that. And for some reason, when we uploaded it on YouTube, it came like much darker than the original.
For some reason, the quality did not. The quality we uploaded was not the quality that was launched, and we couldn't really wrap our minds around it. But in the meantime, it has gone off.
It did feel very dark. I mean, that was unfortunate, but it's. I thought the concept of the video was still cool. We liked that part.
I believe Sinister had like a very good concept, but we couldn't afford going all out on the. We did everything in his bedroom.
Yeah,
exactly, in a small room around here.
That's showing behind Chris. We did everything with garbage bags. We covered the whole room.
Yeah.
We removed his bed and all his equipment. He had to sleep on the couch for a couple of days.
Weeks.
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 The thing is, you wouldn't have guessed that. I wouldn't have guessed that was in like a spare room in the house or your bedroom in the house anyway.
Just so you can picture it, the width of the room, a double bed just fits,
right,
and you cannot stand to the side. So that is the size of the room. So that's what we managed to get out of it.
So there you go. Anyone watching this, there's no excuses for putting bad videos out, because they can do great videos and do it in the house with the garbage bags. There you go.
Just need a good camera. That's what they have.
Good camera. That's the good bit. So I guess we're now at the end of 2022. So what's on the plan for To Climb the Fall in 2023?
Well, we're currently, in fact, I mean, today we were just in the studio now, so we're finishing off our album. We're finishing off the writing process. So today we're on our finishing off our last song from a guitar and structure perspective. So then, of course, there's still the drums, which have to be finalized, and the vocals, which have to be done. And then starting next week, from my side at least, I'm going to start recording all the guitars from top to bottom, so that can be done. So everything, we can start layering accordingly. So the idea is that then by beginning of January, we will send it off to be mastered.
Excellent. Any chances of a tour or gigs coming over to the UK?
Yeah, I mean, that's right now, like I said, we're totally invested in the album, but as soon as the album is released, the plan for us is just to make music videos and play gigs basically, and tours, and like we don't have to worry about creating music anymore. We just have to like focus on getting shows, and UK is like one of our like
targets. Yeah.
So I hope we do. Yeah.
We'll have to get you in at Club 85 in Hitchin. It's a great venue. Kirk, have you got any other questions that you had for the guys?
Yeah, so apologies, I didn't review the album when it came out for Scream Blast Repeat, and it's just because it didn't come our way. So did you use a PR company to try and spread the message and get reviews, for Our Own Demise back in 2020?
We had sent, I remember, lots of emails. Continue, Aaron. Sorry, because I don't.
No, because I was just gonna say I don't recall like getting an actual PR company for the
PR company. No.
video specifically.
I know, but from my end, I remember sending lots of emails to various companies actually, just to get our name out there and maybe get some reviews done for it and whatnot. But unfortunately, if we sent 200 emails, maybe we got one reply, maybe. So from that perspective, we weren't too lucky, or perhaps we should have pushed more. I know, but we didn't have the ability to have our album reviewed or promoted that much.
Yeah, because I mean, it definitely deserved a review. So I gave another listen to it today, and some of the songs on here, track number 2, War is Where the Heart Is, John, that chorus. What was that moment like when you're all in a room and you've switched from that really aggressive metalcore voice to that tenor voice? Can you all remember that moment when you first played that song?
That's one of our favorite songs. Like, I think all of us, if we have to choose top 3, I'm sure for most of us that would be like one of the best one. And we always start that our shows with song and everything, because it gives like that punch in the start. I don't remember, coming up with that. To be honest, it's been a while since. But yeah, that was always like one of our like favorite choruses. Even like the message behind it, the vocals, and everything, the emotion it gives out. Like,
and it's fun to play as well on stage. There is the guitar work and everything. It keeps you there. I mean, I personally, it is the perfect song to start a gig, because it's the perfect song to warm up with. It prepares you for the rest of the gig. That's how I see it. So it gives some good work to your hands, so you can drift off really well to the rest of the gig.
So that's your favorite chorus from our own demise?
Definitely. I do like the song Consume and Adapt. I like the lyrics to that as well. So I know that you're using the metaphor, obviously, of depletion of resources, but I also got the idea that you're also talking about why define yourself by material goods and the abundance that you have, consume. Let's be honest, that's almost a dirty word now, isn't it, to be a consumer? And am I right, there's a bit of cynicism in there that we'll still manage to adapt, even if we're making things worse, whether that be the planet or sending to shallow human beings, will still adapt?
Kind of, but there's a point where I'm talking as I'm not talking as the consumer, I'm talking as the other part. So there's like 2 different perspectives in that song. So it might be a bit confusing. But there's one kind of this ego kind of voice that's controlling the people and just telling them to do what I want, basically. And then there's me who's doing, what are you doing? Basically.
Yeah, and I know that some people, rightly so, are precious about the lyrics, and you're under no obligation to explain them, and some people don't want to, do they? Because you want multiple interpretations. But yeah, that stood out for me. One band that comes to mind when I'm listening to this, do you know that French metal band? I think they're on Napalm Records now, Dagoba. Have you ever listened to their music? They're one of these bands that I think they've been on Century Media, Season of Mist, they've been on all these labels. No one knows them, and their album this year, basically, if it sounded like Our Own Demise, it would have got a better review. I think you've written an album that they probably wanted to do, because you're bringing in you've got a real good talent arrangement. I was just, when I was listening, like, if only the Dagoba album by night sounded like this, I would have enjoyed it more. But one more question from me. I really admire the ambition. Debut album, 54 minutes. Were you not thinking maybe we should save a couple of these songs for an EP?
No, we started with an EP before, and it was like old songs and stuff. So we kind of removed it from our lives because we changed as a band. So we didn't want that part of the world to judge us based on what we were before, right? So then we had a lot of songs because we've been writing for a couple of years. So we had an album, so might as well finish it and create this kind of baby, right? Because, for example, me, I never had an album in my life. This is my first band. So I really wanted to have that thing that I can say, okay, this is my work in my hand, kind of thing. But yeah, we're still going towards another album now, another 10 songs. It's going to be around the same length.
Same length, I think.
Probably, yeah.
But we're going to release them as singles first. We're gonna choose our best and what we think is best, at least 4 and 5, and then we'll obviously release the whole album.
So I disagree with Kirk. Kirk always likes shortish things. I like the long albums. 54 minutes is perfect, guys. It's fine. We actually
I prefer I might prefer longer songs also. This is another debate which we have between us, because if it were to me, at least a 5-minute song, I'm approaching happy with a 5-minute song. Whereas John and Darren are happier with a 3.5 or a 4-minute song. So sometimes we have to again find the compromise.
Songs. It's 20 and 4 minutes. They're really almost
around there. Yeah.
I think as long as the song length makes sense for the song and it doesn't feel overly long, because sometimes when we'll do a reaction video, we'll get to about 4 minutes in and we're like, it really should finish about here. It feels like it should, and then it goes on for another 40 seconds. You're like, that was unnecessary. It didn't add anything to the track. But we've just been talking about on some album reviews of a band that did a 34-minute album and a band that did a 54, and I said I prefer 54 because if I'm going to spend money on an album and it's 34 minutes long and I'm going to spend the same amount for 54, I want value for money. And you're giving good value for money. That's what I like. Giving me a choice of songs. So excellent. Well, I just want to say a massive thank you guys for joining us on a video call today. It's been amazing. It's been amazing to have you on here. We'll obviously keep in touch, and we're hoping to see this new album at some point soon. As soon as it comes out, we'll obviously do reactions for the videos and do a full album review of it.
I will review it for Screen Blast Repeat as well. So
thank you. I know we're looking forward to see your ideas, and especially we're looking forward to see what influences you think affected these songs, because these songs are going to be on a different tuning and they're sort of a different breed. So we're very curious to see how you guys will interpret it as well. So I'm looking forward to that, actually.
It's gonna be something quite different from our own demise. And me personally, I'm a bit nervous about that, because I mean, our own demise didn't exactly make us millionaires so far, but we have a lot of people that say that they like the music. So, now we're giving them something new. I hope that people that liked our own demise will like this as well, because it's quite different. Still, you can tell it's us, but it's
exactly.
The question is, will it make Andy happy? That is the question. Who knows on our channel? Anyway, if you liked this video, people, please do like, share, and subscribe. And we will, of course, all see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care. Brilliant. Thank you.